About 35 kilometers southwest of the capital of Armenia, by the headwaters of the Merdzavor tributary of the Kazakh River, you will find Merdzavor, one of the most famous fortress settlements of the Bronze Age of the ancient Near East. The excavations conducted at the archaeological site have unearthed astonishing historical evidence. As much as 7,000 years ago, life was already buzzing in Merdzavor. The settlement was built on two adjacent hills and was fortified with cyclopean walls. The buildings of the citadel were once residences of leaders and priests. Throughout 2800 to 2600 BC, the astronomer priests developed the year's calendar by capturing the heliacal rise of Sirius, which signaled the beginning of the new year and agricultural activities. The settlement continued to prosper, and by the end of the second millennium BC, became an urban settlement. Merdzavor was one of the most powerful production centers of the ancient Near East. The oldest metallurgy site known to man was discovered here. True inventors lived in Merdzavor, and they taught mankind the production of bronze. Our ancestors built the smelters in rocky cliffs where they produced copper and they bent iron. They used the metal to produce working tools, weapons, jewelry, household items, and works of art. Around 3,500 years ago, the natives of the Ararat Valley established trade relations with Babylon, Egypt, and other countries. Caravans carrying copper and tin ore were sent off to Merdzavor from distant places such as Karzvan, Van, Karen, Agdznik, and Siunik to have their loads processed in the smelters of this city. Upon their return, the caravans would carry back their ready-made metal and metal items. Our skillful ancestors obtained bronze by mixing copper with arsenic. The scientists, however, did not approve of this mixture as it was too brittle and the resulting product was also very toxic. Soon they discovered tin, the substitute for arsenic. The trouble was that there was very little tin in the region, so they had to import it from distant places, from the west, the Mediterranean basin, and from the east, from the Iranian plateau. But soon wars broke out in the Middle East, and the trade routes were closed, and the import of tin to Merdzavor was terminated. The clever governors of the city decided to turn the crisis into a new opportunity for development. They began to export iron, and the city prospered due to that economic growth. This took place around 3,200 years ago, marking the beginning of the Iron Age. But how did our ancestors melt iron? Well, it requires heat of very high temperatures, around 1,500 degrees C, which would not be possible to achieve just by burning wood. Therefore, our clever ancestors ground animal bones, mixed it with clay, and dissolved the mixture in water. Then they made bricks from this paste. Owing to the large amounts of phosphorus in them, the bricks burned very well and supplied the necessary heat. Archaeologists have discovered this by studying the white bricks found near the ancient foundries of Merdzavor. In the Merdzavor Museum, unique exhibits found from the remains of the famous city are displayed. One of them is a child's hair clip that is believed to be the world's oldest gold-made item. More than 27,000 unique and jaw-dropping stories from the Neolithic to the Iron Age, from the Urartian times to the reign of the Yevanduni dynasty, from antiquity to the early Middle Ages are kept here. One of such notable exhibits is the sardonyx seal of the Babylonian king Kurigalzu, which dates to the 15th century BC. Other scarabs of the Egyptian pharaohs Thutmose III and Ramses II. These artifacts are conclusive proof that foreign powers did in fact trade or even ran diplomatic missions in Merdzavor. You can learn more about the mysteries of this ancient, highly developed city by paying a visit there. When you do arrive in Merdzavor, remember that you are setting foot in the territory of an ancient city, and that you must be extremely cautious and careful not to damage its historical and cultural values that were passed on to us from our distant ancestors. we kindly ask you to follow the rules of the protection of this historical monument. Book a trip to visit the Gem of the Orient, the Merdzavor Museum Reserve, and get to travel in history.